I love it when you talk dirty.
So Sierra, I want to ask you, how did you get into the fashion industry? Like, where does your passion come from?
So I started getting into fashion after working my first job, which I worked at Next as my first job. So this is when Next was like popping.
Yeah,
like,
everybody wanted to be there.
Back in the day. So I worked at like Next Beechwood. That was like my first ever job.
Okay,
one of my and I got it by chance because like one of my homies at school, and this is like my senior year of high school, he had like sent me like a little like a job listing for a sales associate at Next. So I was like, oh shit, I've always wanted to work at Next. Like, let me see what's up. So went to my interview, was nervous as fuck, and I got it. And also, this is another note, I went to Catholic school my entire life, so I was never really able to like dress the way I wanted to, or never had a reason. It was real conservative. Never really had a reason to get dressed. Like, and even our dress down days were like controlled. Like we couldn't even
wasn't
wear
really a dress
like
down.
it would be like a t-shirt and jeans, like
just regular shit.
Yeah, it was kind of fucked up. So when I got into Next, like I started buying clothes and I started like I always cared about fashion, like and how I dress like outside of school. You know, I ain't going nowhere.
That's what I was about to say. I feel like because they were so strict on your dress code at the school, I bet anytime you had some freedom outside of that, you would definitely go all out.
I know a lot of Catholic school girls and a lot of boarding school girls when they got out, they went into fashion.
Yeah,
I think I know about 3 or 4.
That makes sense.
Yeah. It's like a little gateway or whatever. It's like the pipeline, the Catholic school to fashion girl pipeline. Is crazy. Yeah. But yeah, started working at Next and realized I love fashion. And then I went to OU the next year. And you know how everybody be like, go to school for something that matters and something where you'll make money, this, that, and the third. So I went to school for business, like when I first got there.
Okay.
But the prereqs was hard as fuck, and I was like, oh, bitch, I ain't doing no damn calculus. Like, bitch.
That was me. I changed my major when I went to Kent, so I understand.
Yeah, I was like, oh, no, this ain't gonna work. So changed to the fashion major my sophomore year, and from there, like, I just love fashion. And I was and I didn't find out I wanted to be a fashion designer to my junior year of college.
Okay.
But before that, I was still doing fashion things. Like, I started, like, a fashion magazine at my university that's still there to this day.
Dope.
And we were doing like all type of just fashion shit, photo shoots, editorial. We were all about that. But my dad bought me a sewing machine my junior year of college, and during Christmas break, I was like, let me just sew something and see what happened. And after I like sewed my first piece, which was not like correctly like made at all, but it looked good, and I saw like a vision, and we shot it for my magazine. I was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And after I graduated and I got out of everything, I was feeling so like overwhelmed with like the postgraduate blues, because you know how like when you get out into the real world, like you think like, oh, I'm gonna move to New York.
It's like a fairy tale.
It's like a fairy tale. Once I realized, okay, a bitch ain't got no money.
It's real life. Yeah,
a bitch ain't got no like, and nobody was fucking with my resume. I was like, damn, this is kind of fucked up. So from there in 2017, I started my clothing line, FriskMeGood, because like my only dream was to become a fashion designer. And at the time, the only thing that was stopping me from starting my clothing line before I did was figuring out a name. I realized that my name was right under my nose the whole time, because my name had been FriskMeGood since high school.
For real?
Yeah.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, how did you get that nickname?
So this is when I first started my Instagram and when Instagram first came up. So I was like, all right, I need like a really cute, cool name. So I started like listening to like songs on my iPod and trying to find like a phrase that would sound good.
That's funny. I be doing the same shit for like captions or just different things.
No, that's a good idea for captions too. But I was listening to a Rihanna song called Rockstar 101, and she said, make sure you frisk me good, check my panties and my bra. And I was like, that's it. So fast forward, exactly. You feel me?
She said, "Pop out. If I'm gonna pop out, I'm gonna pop out big."
Listen,
they out the plastic I
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, when I was trying to figure out a name, I was like, wait. My Instagram is FriskMeGood. Everybody already know me as FriskMeGood, so
there it is.
Makes sense.
And started and I've been 6 years in the game, so that's how I started everything. That's
dope. Hard. So how did you get into the sustainable fashion, making dresses like out of the shoes and all of that? I started making sustainable shit because I couldn't afford fabric, and I was like living at home with my mom, and I was like working in the attic that we had, and I was just like using shit up there because like I could not afford fabric for shit. Like the shit was like, and it still is like $20 a yard, like type shit, just for like the good shit. So I was just using stuff in the attic, like and just like reworking stuff, and then I was like, wait,
I'm upcycling. And I was like, why don't I just make this my mission? Because I already kind of give a fuck about sustainability and all of that. So I was like, fuck it. Like, but how I got into sneakers, my third
that was
year.
a twist.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. So my third year designing, I was in a design competition here in Cleveland.
Okay.
Actually, this is my second year. It was 2019.
Okay.
And I was in a fashion competition called Fashion Mania 2K19. Okay. And my dream was to be on like a design competition show, and I was watching Project Runway, so I just started like Googling shit, and I was like, oh, there's a design competition in Cleveland. And I was like, this is weird. Like, cause Cleveland's not a place where shit like that.
I never would have heard of that.
But yeah, I saw that was happening, signed up with the people, even though the competition had been going on since November, cause participants had till November to February to do their designs. I hit them up in like January. Ooh. So I had like a month versus the people that had like since November.
She said, hey y'all.
Yeah. But a lot of people do work better when it's fire under their ass.
And that's
how it is. That's a Virgo thing.
Yeah, it's
Cheers
a Virgo
to the Virgos.
Cheers to Virgos, okay?
Oh my God.
Don't do that. Don't
do that.
No Virgo hate doing Virgo season.
Over.
It lasts a year this year.
Yeah,
it's a whole year.
It's a whole year.
365.
Listen, okay? But they gave me 3 challenges, and one was to make something without using fabric, which was the one I was having the hardest time with, because the other 2 they gave me like an upcycle dress to use, and they told me to turn it into something. I'm like, all right, cool. The other one, they said don't use thread, so I'm like, all right, cool. And they gave me a theme, and it was heavy metal, and they gave me a tan dress to work with for heavy metal, so I was like, fuck. But I ended up figuring it out with like the other 2.
Like a brass or?
So what I did, I used it as lining for a jacket that I made. So I made like a jacket made out of jeans. It was like a puffer coat, and I lined the inside of it with the dress. So yeah, I was like, all right, y'all didn't say it had to be on the outside. So
right.
His right here.
Listen, okay. But literally the last challenge that I was like having trouble with was the no fabric. I was like, damn, should I make something out of like chip bags and guitar picks? I was like sitting over here like thinking hard. But usually when I work, I play YouTube, and I was watching an episode of Vice about a guy who made gas masks out of sneakers. So I was like, oh shit.
Oh wow.
Why don't I make a top out of sneakers?
Not Vice.
There it is.
Yeah, Vice is so dope though. They had the most random like dope ass videos.
Definitely. So I was watching that video. I was like, all right, fuck it. So went to the attic, got some of my dad's old sneakers, and I made a top. But it wasn't really looking right as a top. So like, I don't know if I was taking it off or I moved it down. I don't know what happened. But it ended up around my waist, and I was like, this might be a vibe. It's kind of weird, but it's kind of cute. So, but I didn't have that much time left in the competition. So I was like, fuck it.
January.
I was like, all right, I'm gonna run with this shit. So got to the competition, and I didn't win. I ended up getting second place, but at the time,
that's good for the amount of time.
Yeah, that was my first ever competition. And at the time, I was very like self-conscious about like my designs, because even though I went to school for fashion, it was like retail merchandising versus fashion design, because we didn't have a fashion design program. So I was kind of beating myself up about not knowing what I wanted to do beforehand. So I learned everything off of YouTube. So at that point, I really wasn't that confident in my designs and my sewing skills and stuff like that. So the competition really solidified that I am good. And I was going against people who have been in the fashion game for years. But funny story, the lady who was running the competition almost tried to run off on my money, because I was supposed to win $200, and she was trying not to give me the money.
Why?
Because she was acting like they ain't have it. And they were like, yeah, you gotta, because it was this lady that owned a dress shop in Great Northern Mall. And I don't know if her shit was closing down, if she didn't have it like that. I don't know what the fuck was the deal.
Nothing to do with me.
Listen, nothing to do with me. I don't know.
The bills caught up to her.
Listen, the bills was catching up, but luckily I had all my family and my friends there, so we had to like corner this lady and be like, nah,
we need that right now.
I've definitely been there.
We had to get the money from the door sales, and she handed me my $200, and I was like, all right, cool.
There it is.
But after the competition, I posted the corset and all the winning pieces on my Depop, and people bought it. And like the girl who bought it, she was like, yeah, this girl made this for a competition, and she won second place, and this is the shit, and blah 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 blah. So I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna just keep making them bitches.
I bet that was an amazing feeling.
Oh, definitely. It was very validating, because like I said, at the time I was not like as secure as I am in the design shit as I am now. So yeah, it's a crazy story.
That was great.
It goes to show how when you really just follow like your inner knowing,
No, for real.
You don't even know where you're going. you just keep going.
Exactly.
Even though you don't know what door you about to hit or whatever, like it seems like there was a lot of just, even though you didn't understand or you didn't know what the outcome was going to be, you just followed the drive and the, you know, and the inner knowing anyway.
Definitely.
And a lot of people would have stopped themselves probably like,
Facts.
oh, you know what?
I quit.
I'm not even, you know what I mean? Like I don't have this is that or, and it's just amazing how that just led to, I guess we can push this on the next topic, to Cardi B.
Yeah.
Wait, real quick though.
You,
After that, go, you finish though.
I was just saying, like, it's just so crazy. Like, you went from, I don't even know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Let me go grab some of my dad's old sneakers. Oh, this shit look weird. Let me slide down a little bit. Still look a little weird, but we going to run with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the same piece that Cardi B was like, gotta copy.
Yeah.
And I feel right before you go, I just feel like it's so dope that all the great and dope people have that defining moment where they realize like, oh, I'm gifted with this and I'm supposed to be doing it. So it's almost like a lot of people find themselves where they almost feel like they're hitting rock bottom. They don't know, like they're not in the best place.
Definitely.
And that's when people are like the most creative. It's like because your back is against the wall.
Yeah.
So you gotta like dig deep and you really find yourself and you find your passion and your purpose. And it's dope how you find your purpose in that moment.
Definitely.
Especially with you not having the same amount of time as other people
Everybody
did.
else,
Right.
yeah.
Like that's fire.
Running against the
definitely.
clock and that being your first competition and it
Right, and coming in second.
place.
And
Yeah.
rock
And
it.
cornering a girl to get your bread too.
Right.
Yeah, excuse me.
Not playing about your money.
No,
Pay up.
dead ass. Dead
What
ass.
you about to say?
But I do want to say I'm glad that you brought up Depop because that's how I found you.
Really?
Which is so crazy because I remember I was working in a nursing home, and I'm gonna say this: I've been a fangirl, like being, and I love giving credit when it's due. That's why, like, I don't got no problem being like, oh yeah, I be fanned out, big fan,
Real nigga.
real bad, and I'm gonna always give everybody their props.
Flowers, yeah.
Always. But I remember I was working in a nursing home. I was working in the Greens in like 2017, 2018. I was working with this dude, his name Rakim. I was looking for something. I was just looking for an outfit for something. And he was like, yeah, it's this app, Depop.
What?
And I think he was already following you. And he was like, yeah, I be trying to shop with her, this and this. I'm like, all right, bet. So I just followed y'all.
Damn.
Hell yeah.
So it was before all of this. I'm like, okay.
Listen, and Depop used to be my shit. Like,
I didn't know how to work it to save my fucking life. So I found your
When you
Instagram.
first pop it up, it's like, what the hell?
I'm not even hip.
Depop is
Bruh.
not what it used to be. So
all.
Depop, they kind of got me
Wanna
fucked
be
up right now.
thrifters and-
I
Kinda
didn't
got watered
understand
down.
it, so I just
It used
I
to be
looked
that
her up.
girl, but now
so
what's the
raw
name?
about 3
Poshmark
years
bought
ago.
Depop, so now it's a whole nother.
Somebody got whitewashed. Kinda.
Yeah, it went from small business to like corporation, which
So came underground and mainstream.
Yeah,
and got fucked up
exactly.
and lost its roots.
Exactly.
Damn. So I do want to ask you, how did you get on